Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. It's an exciting show today because a massive franchise just got surprise revealed for Nintendo Switch. Plus, a new accessory is ready to roll, and it looks pretty darn neat. New release dates have emerged, and does Nintendo have a plan to chase the best-selling system in Nintendo history, the DS? The Switch could get there, and I'll tell you how. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I hope you're all doing amazing out there, and if you're having a rough day, look, it happens. You will persevere, and tomorrow will be better. So make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the show, and let me know your take on today's topics in the comments down below. I want to kick things off with a quick hitter on Monster Hunter Rise, which just released today on the PC side of things. Nintendo Switch console exclusive made its way to the personal computer, but early reports say that the game doesn't look that much better. Now, I don't know if this is good news or bad news for Switch owners, but I want to let you know that you're not being burned out by a bad version of the game for our favorite handheld hybrid platform. In fact, they did such a good job with the Switch version that they didn't feel like they needed to make major graphical overhauls for the PC port. And I think this just goes to show you how awesome that Monster Hunter Rise is on Switch as one of the best looking, best playing, biggest, most awesome games and a console exclusive. I think MHR will go down as like one of the most important and best Switch games ever, and maybe the best, biggest third-party game in the console's lifetime. We're getting a major upgrade / update with Sunbreak this summer, so it's only gonna get better from here. Let me know in the comments down below if you feel good or bad about the PC port looking marginally better than our dear old Switch version. Now, speaking of dear old Switch, maybe you want to feed it something new in the form of new Joy-Con. But wait, these Joy-Con are puffy, they're large, they're big, and they're in charge. It's the Hori Split Pad Pro, which we've covered on the channel before. These are reliable chunkers that won't drift and kind of feel like a Pro controller slapped onto the side of the Switch. But the big problem with them is that they could not be played once they were detached. There's no wireless functionality, so they were useless. And for $50, like, that's a fair price for Joy-Con, but we would have liked to see them do a bit more. Well, now they've added an upgrade to them, the Hori Split Pad Pro attachment set, which adds in like a grip basically, so that you can use this thing as an extra wide Pro controller when you're not attached to the Switch as chunky Joy-Con. It's $80, which sounds like a lot, a $30 uptick from the original Hori Split Pad Pro. But if you consider that a normal Pro controller is $70 and you definitely can't split that and slack that on, then this is actually a pretty nifty option. Okay, it gives you a chance to have chunkier Joy-Con for bigger hand folks or people that want to play Pro controller all the time in handheld mode. It's an interesting alternative and option, and pre-orders are now open. It'll release on April 5th, which is still a ways away, but if you want to get in and secure one of these, now you can do just that. Let me know in the comments down below if you think this is like a cool option for Switch controls or something that just looks like a fat Frankenstein monster. Now, monsters aren't real, but the closest thing is probably at the bottom of the sea. And that's why I am both spooked and excited, tantalized for Far Changing Tides, the sequel to Far Lone Sails. Now, Far Lone Sails came out in 2019, and these are interesting games where you get to explore on a big vessel and then climb out the vessel and explore even more. They're puzzle-solving adventures with a lot of evocative, emotional storytelling, not a lot of dialogue, but just a lot going on in the world that really has an impact. The first game is on Switch, and the second was announced at an Indie World last year, and now we have a release date of March the 1st. So that's coming up pretty fast. You can pre-order that one now if you're interested, and it'll be out in like a month and a half's time. Beginning of the year is really loaded up, and once we get the release date for Kirby and the Forbidden Land, I think this is gonna be one of Nintendo's best Q1s ever. Pokemon, a whole bunch of cool indies, and probably Kirby. Get your wallets ready, and let me know if you think Far Changing Tides looks like it's up your alley in the comments down below. We love it when big third-party franchises decide to come play on Nintendo Switch. We're like, hey, come on over, you're welcome here. And now another one has been surprise revealed with a launch date of February 17th that's coming up fast, and Assassin's Creed now is one of the most well-supported franchises on Nintendo Switch. Getting 6 Assassin's Creeds on this platform. Not the newest ones, mind you, but the Ezio Collection was just announced. And this combines Assassin's Creed 2, my personal favorite game in the franchise. I think it's by far the best. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and 2 films, Assassin's Creed Lineage and Assassin's Creed Embers. They're like short movie type things that feature Ezio, and this version of this package will also have HD rumble, touchscreen support, and an optimized HUD for Nintendo Switch. The best part is 3 games and 2 little movies for $40. Now that is one heck of a deal in my opinion, and the games still look pretty darn cool. I'm sure they'll be fine running on Switch, although I will note, no multiplayer. If you're a fan of that murdering madness on Brotherhood, you won't have it here. It's just the single player campaigns, but they are packed with all the original solo DLC. Assassin's Creed 2 will be on the cartridge of the physical version, and the rest will be downloads, or you can download them off of the eShop. I think this is pretty darn neat, and I'd love to see more franchises do this. Package yourself up. I mean, a Dead Space collection, a Mass Effect trilogy. Give me some Batman Arkham as we get ready for Robert Pattinson to don the cowl. I'm ready for more of this on Switch. Now that the system is so prolific, I mean, you're basically guaranteeing millions of sales if you just put big IP that people know and love on the platform. Make it happen. Let me know if you guys are pumped for more Assassin's Creed on this system, and do you have a special soft spot for Ezio, who I think is the best, most interesting, and well-reviewed character in the franchise. AC Ezio Collection, February 17th. Let's now talk about the world of the future. All right, Switch is so successful. You hear me say it just about every episode of GMM, but there are Nintendo systems more successful. All right, specifically Nintendo's handheld systems, because the Game Boy is way up there with nearly 119 million units sold. And the DS, man, DS does not stand for dual screen, it stands for dominant sales, because that is the best-selling Nintendo platform of all time. 154 million systems sold. A massive number, and one that I don't think anyone thought Nintendo would ever probably reach again. The Wii did a nice job, 101 million. It made a valiant effort. Triple digits is fantastic. The Switch now, we believe, has crossed that threshold, past the Wii, and is looking ahead. Will it ever catch the Game Boy or the DS? Is this possible, plausible, and would it cement Nintendo Switch as the best Nintendo platform ever? Now let's look at the numbers briefly here, because Nintendo predicted around 24 million units this fiscal year. So by March 31st, end of Q1, that would put them at 108 million Switches sold. So that means they're 10 mil short of Game Boy and 46 mil short of DS. Now 10 mil is gonna happen probably in the next calendar year. I don't think there's any sign that Switch will slow down in 2022. We have such a huge lineup, they'll probably easily push 20 million units. So that puts us around 130 million going into 2023. And a number that I didn't think Nintendo could even catch is now becoming a true possibility, especially with the recent ramblings of Nintendo skipping out on the Switch Pro and moving straight to the Switch 2, but not until 2024. That would give Nintendo 2 more full fiscal years to hit and pass the DS system. So if you figure they get about 130 million come March 31st, 2023, then they have from March 31st, 2023 till whenever they launch, like November 2024, they got about 18 months to push 24 more million units, which I think they assuredly can do as long as they keep the software flowing. And we know that there are phenomenal games out on the horizon. Metroid Prime 4 is one we've been waiting for years now. More Mario and more from our favorite franchises as well. Now, if Nintendo just wants to make sure that they hit this, they can go in and home run swing Mario Kart 9 out there, because I bet that brings in tons more players. If you've been holding out on Switch in any way, I feel like Mario Kart 9 is the way to bring you in. But look, Nintendo could also just expedite this number crunch by introducing a new system that's not new, but more of a revision. I mentioned before, like an OLED Lite version, or if they decide to drop the price of the original OLED and make it much more appealing for players and gamers to buy a second Switch. That is another option for them to increase their sell-through numbers, and I think Nintendo could easily explore these if they don't go the Switch Pro route. Some sort of refinement revision that doesn't upgrade, but just sort of sidesteps into a nicer form factor or better materials. We've seen Nintendo do that countless times, especially on the handheld side, and that's why systems like the DS were so darn successful. Not only did it have a fantastic library and a really long life cycle, but they kept supporting the hardware side of things with cool colors interesting limited editions, and nice little upgrades that made players want to buy, especially when the price point was right. And if we can get this Switch down to like $200, $250 come 2023, then I think there absolutely will be another uptick in sales, and we will see this system become the best-selling Nintendo console of all time. And how fitting would that be for something that's helped revitalize Nintendo's place in the industry, make them the leader again, and not with a gimmick, but instead with something that truly plays the best versions of Nintendo titles. I don't think it's any secret that the Wii was successful because of the motion, not because of the games on the platform. Like, yes, Wii Sports was great, but you could have swapped that out with anything that did something similar and it would have still been successful. It's not like the Wii has the best of the best from Nintendo's top IP, yet the Switch seems like it'll end its life cycle being the premier place to play all of your top favorite franchises. Now, obviously, sales aren't everything, and the system is still a star-studded success with or without breaking records. And we don't know exactly how Nintendo will handle the crossover to the next generation. What year? Will there be backwards compatibility? Does it still count as a Switch? Remember, DS definitely benefited from so many models just kind of taking quarter steps and half steps. All of that is TBD, but just know this. The Switch is so darn great, it could be the greatest ever. And I don't know, but for me, that feels so good that we get to be a part of this era and we get to be a part of this generation of Nintendo games. And this channel and this show are chronicling currently what could be the greatest era of Nintendo ever. Like, that gives me goosebumps, and I feel so proud that I get to be here for you. I get to be the captain of our Nintendo ship, guiding you through the waters of the news, the reviews, the previews, the polls, the rumors, and all of the scuttlebutt that we see on the internet and on our system. Thank you for letting me guide you through this wonderful time, and let's wait and see, because Nintendo Switch will definitely overtake Game Boy and could pass DS soon enough. Oh boy, this poll is a mess. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I make goofy mistakes and I don't even know how I made them. I woke up this morning and I looked at my poll and I was like, something is very wrong here. I asked, what's your current favorite streaming service? And I gave you HBO Max twice. Very sorry, a little brain fart there. I meant to add Netflix, and then I got down to Amazon Prime and I was like, why did I pick Amazon Prime? It should have been Disney Plus. Well, I'm gonna think that a lot of you thought HBO Max would have been Netflix, or maybe you just love HBO Max. Their series as of late have been great, and their movie lineup has been amazing. 39% picked HBO Max, 7% picked the other HBO Max, 26% picked Hulu, 23% picked Amazon Prime, and me rocking with the 5%ers with Peacock. First of all, I love their logo, and I love their little screen. The bird feathers, but it's the Office machine for me, man. The Superfan episodes are amazing, and if you've ever liked The Office, those take the series to a whole nother level. It's like a fresh viewing with so much added content, but this also just is my comfort show, one that I watch if I'm ever feeling stressed or anxious, lonely, bored, sad, miserable. I turn to Michael Scott and the rest of the Krusty crew over there in Scranton. So that has a huge importance to me, and you can't really play The Office on any other streaming service since Peacock now has the exclusive rights. That's what elevates it for me, but let me tell you, HBO Max has been great as of late. All right, we powered through Station 11 and cannot wait for the finale of that one. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty darn endearing. It kind of ends up being different than what I thought it was, but I really enjoyed the characters and I'm super pumped to see how it wraps up. Also, not really normally my cup of tea, but I enjoyed the heck out of White Lotus, and we drank that show so fast getting through the shortened season, and cannot wait to see where they go next with the crazy cast of rich dudes and dudettes that treat people terribly and have all sorts of problems. But hey, it is like a train wreck that you cannot look away from. That show, man, it had me hooked for a bit. Let me know what shows have you hooked, and make sure to let me know what you think about today's topics. Hit that like button on your way out, and stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you, and until next time, SwitchForce out.